Hello guys, welcome back to another entry of the Crime Diary. And if you are just tuning in, don't forget to like and subscribe if you do like the content in this video. So in this video, we'll be discussing sadly how a family reunion turned tragic. In 1995, when Stephen Pladl was just 20 years old, he met a 15-year-old named Alyssa on the internet. Alyssa soon became pregnant and they gave birth to a baby girl named Denise. Alyssa and Stephen chose to give their baby up for adoption when she was 8 months old. They were young and poor and didn't believe it was the best environment to raise a child. Tony Fusco and his wife Kelly adopted that baby girl and renamed her Katie. The Fuscos raised Katie along with their biological daughter just a few miles outside of New York in a city named Dover. For the most part, the Fuscos and Katie lived a very normal life along with their biological daughter. Katie was described as always eating, loved animals, and her nickname was actually Pac-Man. During her high school years, Katie was an aspiring artist. She planned to attend college and pursue a degree in digital advertising. Katie once wrote in a blog that a pen and something to draw on was a safe place for her. Ink became her weapon against rules and regulations. She was also quoted saying, "A life without art is no life at all." Besides her blogging, Katie was very active on social media, which is where she found her birth parents and sent them a message. It was reported that the Pladls were very happy to hear from Katie and was very excited for that reunion. So after turning 18 in 2016, Katie decided to go visit her biological parents. And the reunion went so well with her biological parents, Katie decided in that same year of August 2016 to move with her biological parents to the state of Virginia. Katie's adoptive parents, Tony and Kelly, wasn't really on board with her decision, but they figured she was old enough to make her own choices and decided to support her in moving with her biological parents. Katie would soon grow to realize that all was not well in the Pladls' household. Stephen and Alyssa had already decided to separate and were currently sleeping in separate rooms. Alyssa Pladl would later report that she suffered emotional and physical abuse at the hands of her husband, Stephen. Alyssa was also quoted saying she was always on eggshells around Stephen. Whatever that mood was, everyone knew it, and not too often was it a happy mood. Alyssa stated there was a lot of yelling and smashing things in front of their children. Alyssa later confessed to Katie that one of the major reasons for the adoption was that Alyssa believed Stephen was abusing Katie when she was a newborn, and that ultimately that adoption was for her own safety. According to Alyssa, Stephen's behavior changed radically once Katie moved in. He started wearing more form-fitting clothes, working out at the gym, he shaved his beard, and he just seemed to take way better care of his appearance. Alyssa also stated that about 6 weeks after Katie moving in with them, Stephen was sleeping on Katie's bedroom floor. Alyssa stated that this was very alarming for her, and when she confronted Stephen, he told her that it was none of her business and proceeded to storm out of the house along with Katie. In November of 2016, Alyssa finally decided that she had enough of Stephen's behavior, and she moved out of the household with her 2 children. It wasn't until May 2017 that Alyssa learned through her 11-year-old daughter's journal of the incestuous relationship between Stephen and Katie, and also of the pregnancy. Her daughter wrote that she was told by Stephen to refer to her sister Katie as stepmom. Alyssa stated she immediately became hysterical. She asked Stephen, was Katie pregnant with his baby? And he simply stated, "I thought you knew. We're in love." Alyssa stated she responded just by screaming and yelling, asking him, "How could you? She's just a child." Alyssa stated after that phone call, she immediately called the police. 2 months after Stephen and Alyssa's divorce, on July 20th, 2017, Stephen and Katie were married in Maryland. They of course lied on their application, stating that they were not related. When Katie's adoptive parents, Tony and Kelly, heard of the news, they of course were shocked. They stated they didn't support it, but they felt like there was nothing they can do about it. Katie's adoptive parents, Tony and Kelly, can be seen posing in the wedding photos. They later reported that they felt like it was nothing they could do about it and it would be best to support Katie in her choices. Katie gave birth to Bennett on September 1st. She and Stephen decided to move to North Carolina, but the marital bliss did not last long. They were arrested on incest charges in January, and the judge ordered them to stay away from each other and have zero contact. After the arrest, Katie moved back with Tony and Kelly. Every Tuesday and Thursday, she would travel to her adoptive grandmother's house in Connecticut. On April 12th, Katie and Stephen were on their way to visit said grandmother. Little did they know, in a minivan nearby was Stephen Pladl watching their every move. Minutes later, witnesses report shots being fired. Katie and Tony were fatally shot. Stephen Pladl was later found with a self-inflicted gunshot wound back in Dover. Not too long after the shootings of Katie and Tony, Stephen's mother called 911 reporting that her son told her that he had killed Katie, Tony, and also their baby. According to 911 records, Stephen's mother stated that Stephen told her that he was upset that Katie, just 20 years old at the time, had just broken up with him. Unfortunately, police did find the baby dead and alone in Katie and Stephen's home. According to Stephen's lawyer, this is the case of an 18-year-old girl who showed up on a 40-year-old man's doorstep when he was already going through a tough time alone. He also stated that there was never any allegations that Stephen pressured Katie into a relationship. He continued saying Stephen and Katie had a bond because they were related, but never knew each other before the sexual relationship started. He stated Stephen was head over heels in love with Katie, and the bonds of that relationship overweighed the bonds of being biologically related. Alyssa went on record stating she's grieving and she's sad, but she also wants something good to come out of this, even if it's just to get the truth out there, to open people's eyes about the truth of incest. So unfortunately, in this entry, we don't get to see the legal system provide justice for the victims, Katie, Tony, and Bennett, because Stephen decided to take the coward's way out and end his life. So that's what we have in this entry of the crime diary. Once again, like and subscribe if you haven't already, and leave some feedback down in the comments.